Welcome to Professional in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I'm recording, episode 132 or something like that. And we have recently upgraded our quality, so if you are listening to this on the podcast side, you want to watch it on the YouTube side because we're recording much better video nowadays. I'm including the link, so if you have the chance, click on it and go watch it on the YouTube side. Today I have with me Damian Sander. I hope I halfway pronounced that correctly. At LifeExec. Damian, how's it going today?
Terrific. Thank you so much for having me, Tony.
Awesome. My pleasure. And up until about 2 minutes ago, I thought that you guys were life insurance software, which I'm sure
Very
happens
common.
a lot. So let's start with, I'll give you the chance to give us the elevator pitch. What do you guys do?
Absolutely. So LifeExec is a piece of technology that we created about 4 years ago, and went live with it to market once we were ready for that to happen about a year ago. And what it allows is for someone to safely store all of life's important information, documents, passwords, assets, whatever it may be within their life that they want to have safely stored digital copies of. That's what we accomplish. What sets us apart, though, is we've been awarded a few different U.S. patents that allow for communication of that information during times when communication's either difficult, like a medical emergency or natural disaster, or impossible if someone is passed. And so we've hit the market in a neat way and trying to get us out there in as many places as possible. And truly appreciate you having us on.
Okay, so the first couple of things that come to mind for me, I for a long time had basically a little plastic filing cabinet where I kept all important papers, and it was not I'm not organized at all. It was very messy. Nowadays, I have an app to keep track of my passwords, and if something is really important, I take a picture of it, throw it in Google Drive kind of thing, so that it's always there. Now that doesn't mean it's easily searchable or easily shareable. So what is the advantage of the LifeExec app?
Yeah, so security is definitely one of them. Our two founders have worked in the enterprise security software world now for 18 years, and their previous company handled the software within the hotel industry for the business center. Okay, there was always that bank of computers there. They created the technology that allowed you to sit down and do your banking and Facebook and email, whatever it was. And then when you headed up to your room, that computer was scrubbed and that next person had zero access of anything you looked at. LifeExec was built off that exact same platform, which is Microsoft Azure. It's the #1 cloud-based digital storage out there on the market. It's actually used by the DoD, so the CIA and those guys can feel good about it. We feel pretty good too. We've also got 24-hour monitoring by McAfee, as well as a partnership with a company called White Hat, which is a group of ethical hackers. So every time we have a new version or an upgrade that's happening, they get to see it and try out. Yep, they try to break it before we send it live. So security is #1 going to be different than just a Google Drive or something like that.
Excellent. So I can totally see the idea for my personal life. How does it play with insurance? Why is this important to our listeners who work in the insurance industry?
Yeah, so everything that an insurance agent, regardless of which lines they're selling, they're preparing for eventual events, things that may or may not happen in the future. LifeExec does that exact same thing, but on the technology side of it. So we're not going to reimburse somebody if their house burns down, but we're going to be able to replace all of those items a lot quicker and easier for that insurance agent because we teach our clients how to do a home inventory, be able to go room by room and make sure that they not only have photos like you just said, or short videos, but that it's accessible when that time comes. You know, heaven forbid you have to use your insurance, but when you do, it's nice to be in a place where you're organized and things are ready to go. So if something happens, fire, flood, theft, whatever it may be, a lot easier to get yourself back to whole again with that level of documentation.
I love that it specifically helps people do a home inventory. That is so important, and I think every agent has had cases where a client has a loss and doesn't have a
Yeah,
great home inventory. Uh, I've seen services like will come in and video your contents, but that's expensive, right? That requires
sure.
labor, and it's just not very well adopted. I would think that an app is a much better idea. My very good friend Precious down in Texas, who's a 15-year veteran agent, had what was affected by the by Snowmageddon down there,
Oh, yeah.
and basically she came home and found a frozen waterfall in her living room. And then she has, and I'm only sharing this because she shared it publicly. It wasn't something she told me in private. She found that she was underinsured, and she's an agent, right?
Yeah.
Like for regular people, this of course happens all the time. So yeah, super important. So if I'm an insurance agent, do I just encourage my insureds, my clients to download it?
So there's a couple different routes there. We've had it used as an employee benefit within the insurance industry, where the employer will pay for it for their staff, or as an agent, we actually do a 25% revenue share as well. So the agent can sell it right alongside their other policies as an additional value add, but then still make some money off of it on a residual basis along the way as well.
Okay, so on the retail side, or on the when it comes to people just downloading it, what's the pricing like?
Yeah, so we recently went from a yearly pricing model to a monthly. And retail, like you're saying, is $14.99 a month. Larger groups, we're certainly willing to have a discussion and less than that. The reason for that increase is we just recently partnered on the legal side of things. We're working on the tech side of things right now with a legal document company. So now within every LifeExec account in the next 30 days, they'll be able to add a will and a power of attorney and a handful of different documents right within their account. It's all state specific and attorney reviewed, and so they can have that additional layer of preparation with those documents as well.
Also, it'll help me create the basic will type of thing.
Yep.
So basically uh, a legal sum type included in the service.
Exactly. And the company we chose, and I'm not allowed to talk about them yet, but they're 30 years old and are in a really good spot. They work with a network of about 20,000 attorneys across the country. So as things do come up and there are questions, there's somebody to bounce them off of while they're in that process.
That's a great benefit. It's a painful process. It's a process nobody similar to insurance. A process nobody wants to think
Sure.
about. And it can get expensive and messy quickly if you have to go through an attorney. And it makes perfect sense. However I create it, it's worthless if it's not accessible after, right?
Exactly.
So which is very much your premise. So that makes perfect sense, and I can definitely see it as a benefit offered to your employees. I think that is where it would really make a lot of sense.
Yeah, everything's getting so digital now that just from an HR standpoint, rather than printing out the employee handbook and different documents and things like that the employee may need, they can be shared directly through the system safely, so that taking some of that burden off of HR of having piles and piles of paper, within their office.
Oh, that is nice. So at Jacobson, where I work, I've always been remote, and our process is such both for internal employees and for we're staffing. So part of what we do is
Sure.
place consultants elsewhere. Either way, it's all in a system. So I have to use the system like to get my tax documents at the end of the year and things like that. That's how I get my employee manual and stuff. It would be a great benefit to have it. So hey, congrats on coming to work with us. Here's where you get your HR stuff on you. And by the
Exactly.
way, we provide you as a benefit, you get this system that keeps track of your important paperwork that's not work related, and shares
Exactly.
it. I like it. I think that's really great integration.
And our entire process is built around creating plans for those events, like we were mentioning a minute ago. And just as an example, on a work-related scenario, you can create a sick day plan. And you wake up and you're not feeling it. You hit start on that plan, and it's now going to alert your proper bosses and whoever needs to know. Hey, I'm out today. Here's my email login if you need to send my, or, change my out of office or whatever it may be. So there's all kinds of really useful day-to-day features as well.
That's a cool idea. That's
Appreciate that.
a cool idea. Okay, so how 4 years that the company has been around. How long have you been targeting insurance as a great distribution partner?
So in the very beginning, while they were going through research and development, beta testing and that sort of thing, before it had truly gone live, it was a business to consumer sort of scenario. Um, we then started coming across insurance agents within those efforts where they kind of raised their hand and said, "Hey, wait a minute, I want to sell this thing too. My clients need it." And so I was the first employee here in Bend, Oregon, and that was, gosh, we're 15 months ago now. So it's been about that long. My LinkedIn has skyrocketed with insurance agent connections for that exact reason, because very much right now a grassroots sort of reach out, trying to meet people and get it in front of them so that they can see it and start using it as well.
Excellent. Any great stories from the agents on how
Yeah,
it's helped their
we've had a
business?
couple different scenarios. One on that note that you mentioned earlier, where people have been adversely affected by weather. We dealt with the wildfires out here on the West Coast, and one of our clients is an 8-person team in Medford, Oregon. And when the fires came through there, that small 8-person team had 156 structures that they were helping replace. And part of that scenario was LifeExec had been partnered with them ahead of time, and so they had a lot of success stories of people who said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so happy I had this, because the house burnt down, but I've still got all of these memories and documents and photos and whatever it may be stored in a safe place digitally, and not worried about having to find them again."
I would think in the western states where you have wildfire, uh, it would be a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Absolute no-brainer, right? If yeah, and then tornadoes and hurricanes,
sure. It's been a
similar
wild
story.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything that could wipe out your home, uh, it makes sense. Yeah. And before we started recording, you were telling me about a new part of it, or new service that's coming out.
Yeah, so we've brought on over the course of this last year about 350 different individual advisors that are selling this right alongside their different policies, and started hearing back from them within the last 3 or 4 months that some of the life events that we're preparing people for didn't have a ton of education out there. And so we've recently launched what we call Blueprint for Life, and it's just truly an innovative approach to marketing. Kind of that rule of reciprocity, where you're going to give something to someone with no expectation of anything in return, to be doing the right thing. And so what Blueprint for Life is 24 different life preparedness courses, anything from learning how to maintain a home to buying that first home, having a baby, going on a big vacation, and all of these different things throughout the life continuum, cleared on to retirement and legacy planning as well. But the way we're using it is within an agent's marketing efforts, whether that's maintaining their current book of business and staying top of mind with all of their current clients, or within their marketing efforts, whether that's on social media or email or however they're currently doing it, using that login of Blueprint for Life as that complimentary giveaway. and the response has just been tremendous. Whether that's appreciate you coming to my webinar today. Here's your free login, or you've been a client with me for X number of years. I just came across this company, and here's your free login. And so being able to hand it out not only to their clients, but then clients' family as well. My college age kids need it, my parents need it, and that type of thing. So
that is fantastic. So every agent struggles with how to reach the younger generation, and I think that you probably don't know this. My listeners know this, but I'm the millennials and insurance guy. Now,
nice.
Usually it's millennials as employees, and I'm starting to focus more on Gen Z as employees. But I get a lot of questions on how do I market to millennials, and my answer generally is, I focus on millennials as employees. But sure. One thing that I can definitely tell you is adulting, right? Hashtag adulting. Many of us were not prepared properly for adulting. I think Gen Zers are in better shape, but I'm a perfect example. And in my case, it's I grew up in Costa Rica, and Costa Rica has very cheap labor. So what that means is that we don't have a culture of physically maintaining your home.
Sure.
You just like any professional with a college degree and a decent job has a maid, and when the house needs painted, you hire somebody to do it. And so I had never changed a light bulb before I moved to the U.S. for college. I had never done my own laundry. I really needed help with adulting. And a few years later, a couple of years after college, I bought a small home in Des Moines, Iowa, and an old home, built in the 1920s, recently remodeled, but the bones were definitely old. And I had no idea what I was getting into when it comes to maintenance. Now, I went to school at Iowa State. A lot of my farm boy classmates were very good at building and maintaining stuff, but many are not. So and schools are right. Many schools don't. I think I'm going around a very long way, but really what I should have said is many schools don't teach shop anymore.
Exactly.
And if your dad didn't go out of his way to teach it to you, and right with more and more kids in the last generation raised by single mothers, many of us just didn't get that experience, and we end up on YouTube, like watching random videos.
Exactly.
That's a great extra benefit from my insurance, especially if the agent can do it cheaply. Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly, and it has turned into that. It's all that stuff you didn't learn in school. And I'm probably the opposite. I am a very handy person. I pride myself on being able to fix anything or address it and deal with it. And one of the things that I learned in that home responsibilities course that I'm mentioning is the second leading cause of house fires is your refrigerator. If you're not vacuuming the coils at the back of your refrigerator, it sits right behind your range or your oven as the second leading cause of house fires. And I was absolutely floored with that.
Yeah, I 10 years in insurance, and I did not know that. That is very interesting. But I love, in general, I love the idea. I love a single place, and it plays so well with insurance, right? It's got my mind really really going. If you're an agent and you're seeing a lot of your baby boomers who have been with you forever, their kids are graduating college, and once they have to get their own insurance because they can't be on mom and dad's anymore, not going with you, right? This could be a great way to get them to like I'm imagining how credit card companies give away free T-shirts at colleges, like during non-COVID times. Agents,
go absolutely
to the colleges and like make this your giveaway.
Yep.
Even if
set them up with set them up with a QR code, and they can right on the spot scan it and give them that gift.
And
Just
it plays so well with the overall what we're supposed to be doing in insurance, right? Helping you
right.
protect your stuff, and in fact, agents partner with your carriers to pay for it, because ultimately it's saving the carrier money
Yeah.
by lowering losses, right? So it's a win-win-win. So yeah, I really like it, and when you guys add a new part to it, are you is the price remaining the same? Basically, it's just becoming more valuable for the person.
Yeah,
For the
there's certainly going to be a critical mass, I would say, where pricing is going to sit flat. We've added so many things so recently with regard to the identity theft protection and legal document, abilities there. That was our recent price increase. But I can see it hitting a spot where we're happy and everybody else is happy as
okay,
well.
okay, part of the
Our
discovery
owners,
process.
yeah, our owners have their hearts in the right place where they're truly out there to affect as many lives as possible. And if that means keeping the price flat, then I can see them doing something like that.
So we hadn't talked about the identity theft protection.
Yeah,
So it also has some sort of lifelock.
to a degree.
Okay.
It's gone through legal. I'm not entirely supposed to mention names, but it basically when someone passes, it locks down their entire digital footprint, whether that's bank accounts or social media or whatever it may be, to protect from those people who unfortunately will surf the obituaries and then go try and open accounts in someone's name who has just passed. And so it protects from that moment when someone's no longer around, and their family, it's time for their family to step in and start addressing things after someone's passed. It gets ahead of that and makes sure that no one can get to those things unless it's the right person.
Okay. So it's not credit monitoring.
Correct.
It's specifically a coverage for when you pass.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm always curious on the origin story, and I know that like many times I have the founder here. In this case,
Sure.
you're not the founder, but I'm sure you've heard the story. How
Oh yeah.
did they come up with the idea?
Yeah, it's really very cool. So as I mentioned, they've worked together now for 18 years, and when they sold their previous software package, they were in a spot where LifeExec just truly came out of their own personal life necessities. One of the owners has aging parents and was wanting to get ahead of, getting things gathered up and safely stored somewhere. The other fella was actually in a climbing incident on Mount Rainier where they had summited and they were on their way back down the mountain and a horrible, horrible storm came through, 80-mile-an-hour winds trying to blow him off the mountain. And sitting in his tent for a couple of days, hunkered down, waiting for this storm to pass, your mind starts to wander. And his, first thought, and anybody's first thought in that moment was his family. Is my wife and daughter going to be okay if I don't make it down? Unfortunately, he did make it down, but they both went to work in that moment to try and find something on the market that could handle those two scenarios, and it just didn't exist. And so they went to work on creating it. LifeExec came to be shortly after, and we're getting all kinds of really great attention on a national scale, partnering some very big names as well, and everything's so new that this interview in a month will have a whole bunch of names I can drop, but for now we'll keep them private.
Fantastic. I think all the best services generally come down from real experience,
Yeah.
right? That's for example the Airbnb story. They had extra room in San Francisco for it was literally an air mattress during our marketing conference, and they figured that put it out there and see if anybody jumped on it, and it turns out there was a huge need for it. And just recently, I heard that Uber, same story, like Kalanick and the other co-founder were having trouble catching a cab. And they're like, this is BS. like, this is so. Why is this so hard to do? And that's how they got the idea for Uber. So that makes perfect sense. So Damian, thank you for joining me today. This has been very informative. When this goes live, I will tag you on LinkedIn, and I'll have the link to the company website. And what is the best way so if you want it for yourself, like just download the app basically. But
yeah, LifeExec.com is kind of that first route. I'm actually the person in the contact. So when someone schedules a telephone call, I'm going to be the one fielding that through our contact info there on the site. And then with regard to Blueprint for Life, that's a conversation that we can have on an individual basis with the agents and kind of see what best fits them. There's a
perfect.
couple. There's routes to go there.
So if you'd like to offer this as a benefit, or if you'd like to use it for marketing, it sounds like it's very flexible. And
Definitely.
just go to the website and schedule time with Damian.
You got it.
And the beauty of a young company like that is the flexibility, right? We're the same way over with Jacobson or with Insurance Nerds. We have the ability to kind of customize it because we're young and flexible. Basically.
There you go.
So thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun.